Happy All Hallows, everyone. My favorite time of year has finally arrived, and what a better way to celebrate all things scary than to take a trip down memory lane and revisit what frightened us all the most as kids. So, to commemorate such an occasion, I bring you my top 10 scariest childhood moments. Just a few things before we begin. These are based on how scary they were and not how they are now. Therefore, this is a very personal list encompassing all forms of entertainment, including video games, movies, and even TV shows. And with that, let's indulge. Number 10. The Headless Horseman from Sleepy Hollow. My family would insist on watching this movie every year, and every year I dreaded it. A pure gothic horror cartoon with creepy visuals, brooding atmosphere, and a chilling storyline. But the worst part of it all was the Headless Horseman. Being concealed in shadows of black and red, my imagination would always run wild as to what he actually looked like. With his creepy laugh and demonic horse, he made all of us lose our heads. Number 9. The Sonic franchise was one of my favorite franchises growing up. Was. Even though I never actually owned a Genesis, I had plenty of friends who did. But whenever we started playing, I always dreaded getting past just the first level. It was at this point the developers added the bane of every gamer's existence: water physics. Portions of the level would be submerged in either chemicals or water, often coupled with precise platforming. And if you didn't reach air in time... The first time I heard the drowning music at a friend's house, I buried my face in the couch and didn't look up until the bouncy chemical plant music returned. With the addition of floaty water physics, jumping and platforming became ridiculous, and when I was younger, falling into the water only signaled my ultimate demise. It was only a matter of time before... Number 8. Oogie Boogie from The Nightmare Before Christmas. Okay, now we're starting to get real. This guy terrified me when I was little. The black light comes down, his lair takes on a whole new creepy atmosphere. The pitch black coupled with the bright colors give a strong sense that you're no longer in your world, but you're now in his. Isolation and hopelessness start to set in as you hear the boogie song. Those dark, soulless eyes, burlap skin, and creepy bugs he can summon from his very being. But the most terrifying part was his death. We see him skinned alive and that he's made entirely of bugs, and now with no support, he falls apart into the boiling pit below. Whenever this scene came up as a kid, I would run out of the room. Really, I didn't need to see what happens. I've seen it before. I don't need to see it again. Call me when it's over. Number 7. Pooh's Grand Adventure: The Search for Christopher Robin. Now I know what you're thinking. How can Winnie the Pooh possibly be scary? It was a lovely, charming series of shorts about a boy and his stuffed animals. So Disney decided that Winnie the Pooh wasn't scary enough. Let's make something that'll traumatize and scare kids. And this was the result. And boy did they outdo themselves. In the movie, Christopher Robin has gone missing and it's up to Pooh and his friends to find him. The result is... The entire movie has this foreboding atmosphere, completely unfitting for Winnie the Pooh. Growling from caves, desolate foggy mountains, and steep, jagged cliffs. Even in the beginning, during Owl's song, he sings about all the horror that awaits them.
The claws, the teeth, the chase, the thrill!
Even suggesting that some of them won't even return.
And those of you doomed to never return, I salute you twice!
It's only at the end that they reveal that all the traps and danger and hazards were just their imagination. Number 5. Here's one I think that not many people would guess. Myst Island. Honestly, this one wasn't even supposed to be scary. But with that said, I still get uneasy playing this game. Keep in mind, I was maybe 2 or 3 when this game came out, so by the time I actually got around to play it a few years later, I was still at the age where you didn't go outside without your parents. So the idea of being trapped on a desolate island, alone, with 2 creepy guys trapped in books and another guy trying to guide you to safety was super scary. Finding all the hidden video messages, solving difficult puzzles, and made my paranoia jump through the roof. I always felt like I was being watched, like a rat in a cage, never to see my family again. And because of this, I was also convinced that there was going to be an enemy or a monster in the game somewhere. Supposedly you were alone. My dad never beat the game and he never saw an enemy, but how would he know? At this point in my life, no video game didn't have enemies in it. So naturally, I assumed there was going to be something waiting for me on this island. I mean, listen to some of this and tell me you don't feel uncomfortable. Yeesh. No thanks. Number 4. Growing up in the 90s, every kid knew what Goosebumps was. It was a long series of books written by R.L. Stine, and honestly, they were just okay. The real reason you got them was for the covers. The front of these books were always terrifying with such immaculate detail, and this one grabbed my attention. The Haunted Mask. So naturally, when it became a TV show, that was the first episode I saw. Or maybe it was because it was the first episode made, or whatever. Anyway, stories about a girl who always gets bullied at school. So to get some revenge on Halloween, she buys a scary mask. But the one she bought happens to be haunted. In case the title didn't give it away. As the night goes on, the mask begins to imprint itself onto Carly Beth. She becomes more aggressive, mean, and then the mask tries to fuse to her skin and even replaces her eyes.
They're not my eyes, Sabrina. My eyes don't look like that. Try to calm down, Carly Beth. Those aren't my eyes. Where are my eyes? Where am I? You're scaring me.
As she was the only one who wanted these special masks, the unloved ones, they also want to be loved and start chasing her into the night. Man, Halloween is supposed to be fun. The last thing I need to worry about is my costume trying to attack me. Number 3. Pretty much all of Pinocchio. I mean, really, take your pick. From the 2 creepy guys trying to get Pinocchio to join the theater instead of going to school, or perhaps the puppeteer who wants to force Pinocchio into slavery and then plans on killing him when he's done. Then there's the traumatic donkey transformation scene as kids are transformed into donkeys and sold to work in the salt mines for the rest of their lives, never to see their families again. Actually, something I never noticed. On the trip to Pleasure Island, notice that it's not horses pulling the wagon of boys, but donkeys. They only know what awaits the boys that they have in tow, and can never say a word. But the crown jewel of terror in this movie is the climactic battle with Monstro. Just his sneezing sounds terrifying. Never mind once he actually tries to be scary. Next one, please. Number 2. Donovan chooses poorly. I loved Indiana Jones as a kid. The Raiders of the Lost Ark was one of my favorites, so why this scene scared me the most is totally beyond me. I could watch the opening of the Ark unfazed. I guess I just chalked it up to those were obviously props, this can't happen, therefore no need to be afraid. But this is actually what happens when you die. Sure, it's not that fast, but it's what happens all the same. This made the death hit a little bit closer to home. It was more real than a supernatural melting or a ritualistic sacrifice. To see the life sucked out of a perfectly healthy man in mere seconds was just terrifying. Really showing just how fragile our existence is and how fast a life can be snuffed out. It scared me so much because I always imagined this happening when I went to visit my elderly relatives. For the longest time, it gave me a fear of the elderly, petrified that they would die and crumble to dust before my very eyes.
He chose poorly.
Now, before we get to number 1, here are a few honorable mentions. The Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come from the Muppet Christmas Carol always kept me on edge. He was creepy enough even to scare off the narrators. Rasputin from Anastasia was always unsettling. The fact that he was just a shambling corpse falling apart, hell-bent on killing the last of the Romanovs. Ratigan from The Great Mouse Detective always creeped me out, especially when he snaps and his true form is finally revealed. And I just flat out repressed the Penguin from Batman Returns. The Bear from The Fox and the Hound? Yeah, me too. But by a wide margin, the scariest thing in my childhood was this. I swear the pool monster from Are You Afraid of the Dark is the only thing on this list that still leaves me looking over my shoulder. I was being babysat by my older cousin when I saw this late at night, well past my bedtime. And like any other kid, I wasn't scared. But when I was put to bed and the lights went out, I went cold. I knew he was under my bed, just waiting for me to leave to go get help, toying with me, just waiting for me to call the babysitter so that he can kill me and her too. This is the first time I can recall being stone cold petrified, actually getting that cold shiver down your spine and cementing yourself to the floor. Everything about this guy scared me. His look, his build-up, the music, even his death. Everything else on this list scared me so much I'd run or hide. But this went far beyond that. I couldn't run. Oh man, that was fun. Nothing like revisiting the past to recharge your batteries. I'm just gonna go take a quick bathroom break and we can get on with the show. You know what? I can hold it till my next video. Bye.